Hello to all new mommies out there. There's absolutely nothing more exciting than a new bundle of joy. It's an amazing and life-changing experience. While it can be overwhelming and challenging at the beginning, the one thing that you don't need to worry about is finding the perfect sleep suits, bibs, blankets, and basic items that you need for your nursery. We're joined by our resident fashion and beauty editor, Nox Mafu, and medical doctor and influencer, Cara Rinkwest. Ladies, a very good morning to you.
Thank you for having me.
This for me is super exciting. I think the best thing is like buying for those small little cute toes.
The cutest
and
thing
the
ever.
thing is, congratulations on being a new mom.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Is that like something that you need to be, you feel like you need to be congratulated for? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
You're just like, yeah, I carried a child for 9 months. How has that journey been, especially during a time of COVID-19?
Okay, well, my pregnancy was just like a whole roller coaster of emotions. I mean, I was working as a GP until 2 weeks before I gave birth.
Wow.
And I just felt like I had a duty to still, serve the community. But that put me at increased exposure. So it was lonely at times. There was a lot of anxiety. Would my husband even be present at the birth? But thankfully, all of that worked out. And he was there. And not being able to get visitors and all of that turned out to be a blessing. Because you could really like bond as a family, like you wouldn't maybe be able to in other times, you know? So everything worked out, and I would just like want all the moms to just take a breath. It's going to be okay, you know?
It's going to be okay. And also, it's an interesting time. You're going to look back and think to yourself, hey, man, you were born during COVID-19.
Rainbow babies, they're bringing love.
True. But one thing, apart from worrying about the pandemic and everything else, I mean, the excitement still remains when you're trying to shop for your baby.
Yes,
what are your top items on your nursery list?
Well, for nursery specifically, decor, it was so much fun planning all of that. But in your nursery, you have your bedding and all of that, and it's very important to keep things safe. So you don't actually want a whole lot of blankets. It's a risk of SIDS and suffocation. So Woolies actually has these perfect sleeping bags, and it's very nifty. It comes with these clips, and you basically just zip baby into it. And it keeps baby safe. You don't have to worry about it being in their face or anything like that. Then obviously just like your fleece blankets, keeps them nice and warm, and yeah, just cot bumpers. There's a whole range that you can find at Woolies. It's really cute.
I feel like safety is the number one priority for any parent out there. They're so fragile and they're so small, and they're also just trying to figure it out, this new world. Nox, Cara touched on, the safety aspect of it, but what other materials and kind of shopping, what should we add to our shopping list that but cover the safety aspect of it as well?
I think, what we do know is that new moms are obviously always looking for something that is safe, that is comfortable for the baby. So I think what the most important thing to look for is definitely the materials. So you're looking for things that are 100% cotton, things that are very soft on the kids' clothes to make sure that the skin doesn't get irritated. And of course, the safety measures are super important. And what I love about the Woolworths range is that there are a lot of little tricks and tips that they've put inside the clothes to make sure that we're fine. So if you look at the shoes, for instance, they tend to have a lot of grip at the bottom so that you make sure your child definitely doesn't fall and that they're sturdy on the ground or that they slip off. I do also know that, there's swimwear, for instance, which is just the cutest little item
look at that
in the world, honestly. And they've got UV protection inside the materials. So all of these things are really, really great, just elements to make sure that your child is safe and, is able to be cute, obviously, and practical. But I really love, even if we look at something like this, actually what we have here is a bar tuck buckle inside here to make sure that any little bubba who's curious to just pull won't be able to get away with it. So honestly, just some lovely tips and tricks, even in the fashion, to make sure that your child is comfortable, but also looking great and safe.
And safe, that's the most important part of it. These are things that we can easily overlook. I mean, who will think about, thinking about the rope thing? Because to us as a child, it's just a rope thing that I'm pulling. But, the safety precautions are put in place for such things. Cara, back to the bedding. You touched on a little bit on this one over here, but what are the other bedding items that we should look out for?
Okay, so a lot of babies sleep really well being swaddled. And these muslin blankets are great for that. So they're just great for swaddling, and they're 100% cotton. They're breathable fabric. You don't have to worry about baby overheating or anything like that. Yeah, and then obviously you get this is your cellular blanket, also 100% cotton. It's just great, hypoallergenic. You don't want baby to be irritated with the fabric. And then it also, these soft and snuggly fabrics, it also gives a sensory experience. So that helps develop their senses as well. So you have to think of everything.
Definitely there. Like
you're pointing at something there.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that soft element that Cara's speaking to is so available here. It's just a nice, cozy feeling.
Yeah. And one thing that I really love for my baby, winter babies, it's all about layering. Woolies actually has these, we don't have it here, but these one-piece woolly little jumpsuits that baby's allowed to feel free to move around in, but still be kept warm like she's wearing a blanket, you know?
I can see a little cutie on the screen. I just want to cuddle her and bring her here and just hug on her all day. Cara, you have a new baby. I'm pretty sure we're talking about the developmental stages. Yes. What kind of foods should parents be, feeding their children?
Okay, so exclusively until 4 months, as breast is best if you can breastfeed, otherwise formula. But when we start introducing the solids, it can be very tricky. You want to give your child the best, but that often requires that you have to spend hours pureeing foods, and it's not convenient, and we're busy moms. So Woolies has actually given us the one-stop solution with these single-serving resealable pouches, and they've selected, like perfectly selected ingredients that as you would at home, and it's almost just as you would prepare it at home. So they actually come in 3 different stages.
Okay.
So the smooth is for when you're just introducing the solids to the baby, and then as they become more experienced and more curious, they want to move on to the textures phase, and then you get the chunky, that's for your experienced baby.
So they're kind of walking you through all the stages.
Yes,
Woolies is truly making parenting, a little bit more bearable and a little bit more easier, but ultimately the joy and everything comes from, your little family. Congratulations once again. Nox, thank you so much for putting us on with Woolies. Make sure that you at home are also ready for your little one with Woolworths. They keep your baby safe and comfort in mind, and they are your one-stop shop for all your baby basics rather. You can buy all these items and more at Woolworths in store or on the Woolworths app.